So over the past week or so, I've been thinking about all the things that I've bought as a college kid that I've found to be really helpful and beneficial and help to streamline, the work process. And I wrote down some of them and I decided that I would make a video out of them and share them with you guys. So obviously individual results may vary. People have slightly different needs, obviously. So this is me just speaking from personal experience and things that have helped me. So I'll just jump right into it. The first one is a USB hub. This one has 4 individual USB ports. Each one has a switch that can be turned on and off. It's got a little illumination behind the buttons to let you know whether it's on or off. This is really handy for me because I have my computer stand plugged in because it has a fan in the bottom of it. I have my keyboard plugged in because it's a powered keyboard. I have my phone charger, and then I have one left over either for my Bluetooth speaker or charging a camera. One of my major gripes with MacBook Pros is the fact that I only have 2 USB ports. And one of my 2 is constantly used by my mouse, which is a great mouse, amazing battery life, like I'm going on 2.5 years in the same batteries, but that's not Bluetooth, it's just wireless. So I have to have that using one of the USB ports. So this is nice so that I only have to, if I want to take my computer somewhere, I only have to unplug one thing rather than a bunch of things, and it makes cable management a lot easier. So next I want to talk about my keyboard and my computer stand. The keyboard I got not too long ago, although for typing intensive stuff like English classes and stuff that requires a lot of research, I've always used an external keyboard, but I finally got the one that I really like. If you're a 90s kid and you had those black and gray Dell computers in school, you probably used a keyboard very similar or identical to this, and I love it. It's got a nice feel to it, and it can be tilted and whatnot, and it feels a little closer to mechanical even though it's not, because I'm not crazy about laptop keyboards. When I have a lot to type, a lot more comfortable doing a couple things, or a quick email from my computer is no big deal. But if I have to type a lot, then I definitely prefer an external keyboard. And that way I can move it away from the computer. I can keep the computer on the computer stand, which I'll talk about in a minute, and it just makes a lot more sense for me. And then I like the computer fan for 2 reasons, or the computer stand for 2 reasons. One is the fact that it's ventilated. It has a fan in the bottom so that when I'm rendering videos like this one, it can help to keep the computer a little cooler. It doesn't do an amazing job, but it certainly helps. And second is it elevates my computer. I hate having a computer on a desk and having to look down at it for a long period of times, like when I'm typing, for example, typing an essay or something, and it starts to hurt my neck. So I like to keep it a little closer to eye level. It's not a big difference, but right there, that's probably 8 to 10 inches higher than what it would normally be. And for me, that makes all the difference. So these 2 are mostly ergonomic things, but they make a big difference to me. It makes for a lot more comfort. Another one not pictured here is our printer. It's a pretty basic Canon printer, but we bought it specifically because it's a laser jet rather than an inkjet. So while toner can be a little bit more expensive than liquid ink per unit volume, it lasts much longer, and it's much lower maintenance because there's no ink to get everywhere. It makes for a more consistent print even when it is running out of toner, and it goes probably 600 to 1,000 pages on one toner cartridge. So those aren't too bad price-wise if you buy refurbished ones, which is what we do. The cost difference makes up for itself because when Anna was in grad school, she was printing off hundreds of pages a week, and that ink would have gotten very expensive very quickly, even if we were buying generic stuff. It's not relevant so much anymore for both of us because we don't do a lot of typing and printing, but when we do, it's still nice. In the 3 years between both of us going to school, we've only replaced the toner twice, so 3 toner cartridges because it came with one. So that's pretty great in my eyes. The next one, slightly superfluous, but I still find them extremely beneficial. So they are Bose noise canceling headphones. These are the QuietComfort 35 or QC35, I see them abbreviated as. They're Bluetooth. They are quite expensive. Scratch that. They're very expensive. And they made me cringe a little bit to buy, but I bought them primarily because sometimes I have an extreme difficulty focusing, especially when I'm at home and Anna's on the phone or she's doing something and I just can't concentrate to save my life. And the noise canceling on these, coupled with like some nature sounds or the sound of running water or forest sounds for me, really does it. So the sound quality is what you would expect with $350 headphones. It's great. Additionally, these pads for your ears are wonderful. I could literally wear these all day. They're extremely, extremely plush and comfortable. Same goes for the head pad. This is not paid, by the way, believe it or not, not paid endorsement. I just love these things. Battery life is great. I could listen all day and probably only drain 2/3 of the battery. And by all day, I mean like 10 hours plus. Obviously, depending on how loud you're listening to it. For me, not very much. I find that I can keep it at quarter volume pretty good with the noise canceling. Makes it so that the volume doesn't have to be quite so high. You can talk on the phone on these. Connecting to phone is really simple. I just turn both of them on, turn my Bluetooth on, and it basically connects automatically for the most part once it's been formally paired permanently to a device. So these are really great. I haven't had the opportunity to travel with them. I'm sure they'll be great on the airplane when we fly to Texas in January. But I'm really glad I bought these. They come with a nice case. They fold up, as you can see. So they fit in their very nice, firm box. And like I said, they're all around fantastic. Comfort, sound quality, battery life, all of that stuff. For someone who has difficulties concentrating, I would really suggest noise canceling headphones. Perhaps not this exact model because they're extremely expensive, but something very similar but cheaper would probably serve you about as well or as well. Next up is my dry erase board. So you can see it back here. Let me adjust the camera. So I'm not sure exactly how large this is. This is probably 3.5 feet by 2.5 feet. Dry erase boards are surprisingly rather expensive. I believe this one was $50 or $60 at somewhere like Office Depot or Staples. This was a must-have for me when I was doing a lot of trigonometry. I still use it a lot for studying, but I use it more so for test prep rather than doing practice or homework problems because a lot of times I have to turn those in anyhow, so I really don't want to write it twice. But it's great for studying. It's got plenty of room for multiple classes. I have my abstract algebra right now and then my vector calculus. I've made several videos about how I study specifically, but it's nice to have it here. And, of course, I can erase it when I'm done and use it for another class. If I just want to write a big fat reminder to myself for something I want to accomplish that day without forgetting about it, I can write it up there. It's just all around handy. If I want to draw something visualized, a graphical representation of something, it's nice to do. And it's got a little tray here for my markers, which are also far more expensive than they should be, in my opinion. But I really like having it. This has been great. Another thing that's been really big for me is getting a larger desk. Originally, I was stuck with my wife's childhood desk, which you can see over there. In comparison, it's like a quarter of the surface area, if that. This was a Craigslist find for I think $50 or $60. It's about 5.5 feet by probably 4.5 or so. It's very large. The main thing that I love a large desk for is so that I can look at everything that I need at one time. So I can have my computer, I can even push it back a little bit if I want. I can have a textbook, a full-size piece of paper to write on, look at my class notes at the same time. Because there's nothing I hate more when I'm studying or preparing for an exam or something. This when I'm in a small space and I have to stack things. And I gotta pick something up to take something out from underneath it and put the other thing down and put the new thing on top of it. It just drives me up the wall. I want to be able to look at everything all at once without having to move anything. I just love that. Obviously right now I'm using it for things I shouldn't be, all kinds of junk. This side of my desk stays practically the same. I don't really put stuff over there, but this just oftentimes becomes a place where I temporarily store things, paint supplies, medical bills, junk. Even when a lot of it's taken up by that, it's still a ton of room. But yeah, I like to have space to spread my junk out. That's really great for me. This is something we'll probably keep when we move. The legs are aluminum and detachable. They just bolt in. So it's pretty great. And it's been really big for me and my sanity especially. So this last thing might be a little off the wall, but bear with me. So this is just kind of a generic skateboard. This is a Sector 9, just kind of a stock bare bones. This is the way it comes. I haven't made any upgrades or anything like that to it. Just pretty general, normal looking for the most part. Not quite a longboard, but I guess you would call it a cruiser or whatever. So I originally bought it. I think it was like $100 or $120. I got it from, I think, a Billabong store, outlet store, whatever. I originally bought it to commute around campus because where I park is a hefty distance from where my classes are. And I thought that was kind of annoying, especially when it's really hot out. But that didn't work out too well. There's just a lot of people and it's very hard to go around them and stop on a dime and all of this other stuff, crossing traffic. So it's turned into actually just, a reason to get out of the house, which is why I appreciate it so much. It's a reason to go cruise around my neighborhood, other neighborhoods, up and down the streets, and just in our larger neighborhood of Carrollwood in general. It's good exercise, it's low impact. Running isn't great for me and my knee. It can be casual exercise if I want to just push slow, if I want to really get going. It doesn't take much at all to get my heart going and make myself out of breath. It's just pleasurable, it's fun, and it's just really a good reason to get out of the house. I feel like if I didn't have a good specific reason to get out of the house, I'd sit in this office all day if I wasn't in class or at work, and that's not really, I could do that and it would be fine, but I need to get out for my own sake and my sanity, and that's a good reason to do it. Some good light exercise and just put a bit of a smile on my face. It's something to do that's not expensive. It's not a hobby that requires me dumping constant money into it. I can take it on anywhere. When we go back home to Gainesville, I can throw it in the truck, ride around my in-laws' neighborhood, catch up with my friends who also have skateboards, go ride with them. I'm glad I got it. I've had it probably 3 months now. I've probably ridden close to 50 miles on it. I probably do 2 to 6 miles at a time per session, which is really only like once a week, which is, is good for me. But yeah, I enjoy it. I have a lot of fun. It's a good reason to get out and feel the sun, or when the weather's especially nice, to go enjoy it, because otherwise, frankly, I wouldn't. But anyhow, that's all I got. Hopefully this was interesting, but thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.